Billionaire's daughter takes her poor friend to dinner on Christmas Eve. What the billionaire father does is unbelievable. The snow was falling outside, covering the yard with a white blanket that shimmered under the light of the street lamps. Inside the house, the fireplace crackled softly, filling the living room with a cozy warmth. Haley was sitting on the sofa, her little legs crossed, fiddling with a box of Christmas ornaments. Her blonde hair fell over her shoulders as she carefully rummaged through the contents, as if searching for something special. Damien walked into the room carrying 2 more boxes. "I found the rest of the ornaments in the attic. Shall we put up the tree today?" Haley looked up. Her bright eyes were shining in a different way. She was holding something in her hands. "Dad, look what I found." It was a small, star-shaped glass ornament. The paint was a bit worn, but you could still see the golden details on the points. Damien stopped in the middle of the room. He recognized it instantly. "Bet that was your mother's." "I know." Haley gently ran her finger over the surface. "I remember her putting it on the tree. I was very little, but I remember." He slowly sat down beside his daughter. That ornament hadn't been seen in years. Damien thought it had been lost in a move. She loved this one. His voice came out softer than he intended. "She used to say that every tree needed a star at the top. Then let's put it up today." Haley smiled, but it was a quiet smile, full of a strange wisdom for an 8-year-old child. "That way, she'll be with us for Christmas." Damien felt his chest tighten. He put his arm around his daughter's shoulders and pulled her close. "She always is, Haley, one way or another." They stayed like that for a while, just listening to the sound of the burning wood. The house was large, well decorated, filled with beautiful things. But in that moment, the silence was heavy. Haley fiddled with the ornament one more time, turning it against the light. Then she took a deep breath, like someone gathering courage. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Of course, what is it?" She hesitated, bit her lip. "Can I invite my friend Maya to our dinner?" Damien frowned, more surprised than anything else. "Maya? The girl from your school?" "Yeah, she's my best friend." "Oh yes, of course you can." He shrugged, relaxed. "But why are you asking like this, all nervous?" "Oh, you know you can bring your friends over." Haley looked down at the ornament. She was quiet for a few seconds. It's different. It's Christmas dinner." "So, Christmas is for being with the people we love." "I know, but..." She paused again. Damien realized his daughter was choosing her words carefully. "She's poor, Dad." The sentence hung in the air like a stone dropped in a lake. Damien blinked. "Poor?" "Yeah." Haley finally looked at him. Her eyes were serious, almost adult-like. "She lives with just her grandma, in a really small house. They have almost nothing." Damien didn't know what to say at first. He wasn't expecting that. "And how do you know this?" "Because I went there once, after school." Haley adjusted the ornament in her lap. "Her house only has 3 rooms. Her grandma sleeps on the couch so Maya can have a bed. And their Christmas..." She stopped, and Damien saw his daughter swallow hard. "Their Christmas has no tree, Dad. No ornaments. Her grandma makes a cake and that's it. Maya told me she's never gotten a present, not a single one." Haley's voice trembled a little at the end. It wasn't pity. It was something else. Something deeper. Damien stared at his daughter, trying to process it all. Haley was 8 years old. 8. And there she was, holding her mother's ornament, talking about poverty, about inequality, about things he himself avoided thinking about. "She's never had a Christmas like ours, Dad." The sentence echoed in the room. Damien felt a different kind of tightness in his chest now. It wasn't sadness. Was it shame? Surprise? Admiration? Maybe all of it at once. Do you care about that?" he asked softly. Haley turned her face to him, confused. "Of course I care. She's my friend. How could I not care?" So simple. So obvious. And yet, Damien felt as if he had been punched. He looked around. The room was full. A 6-foot tree waiting to be decorated. Boxes of expensive ornaments. A marble fireplace. An imported sofa. Everything money could buy. And on the other side of town, A girl the same age as his daughter slept in a tiny room while her grandmother squeezed onto the couch. "Dad?" Haley touched his arm. "Are you mad?" No. Damien shook his head, coming back to reality. "I'm not mad. Just surprised." "Surprised by what?" "By you." He held his daughter's face in both hands, looking right into her eyes. "By the size of your heart." Haley smiled, a little embarrassed. "So she can come?" "She can. Of course, she can." "Really?" Her eyes lit up. "Really?" Haley let out a little squeal of joy and threw her arms around her father's neck, almost dropping the ornament in the process. "Thank you, Dad, thank you." Damien laughed, catching the ornament before it fell. "Hey, be careful with your mum's star." "Sorry." Haley pulled away, taking the ornament back carefully. Then she looked at it, thoughtful. "I think Mom would have liked Maya." "Why?" "Because she's the type who doesn't give up, you know." Haley tilted her head. "Like, her life is hard, but she's always smiling, always making up games, and she shares everything, even though she has almost nothing." Damien felt his heart ache again. "She sounds like a special girl." "She is. That's why I wanted her to have a real Christmas, at least once." The simplicity of those words hit him hard. A real Christmas, something Damien had always had, that he had always taken for granted, and that for Maya was a distant luxury. "Then we're going to make this Christmas unforgettable for her," Damien promised, and he saw his daughter's eyes fill with happy tears. "You promise?" "I promise." Haley hugged her father again, tightly this time, and when she let go, she had that huge smile that Damien hadn't seen in a long time. "I'm going to call her grandma right now and tell her." She ran upstairs, even forgetting the ornament she left on the sofa. Damien was left alone in the living room, holding the golden star in his hands. He turned the object slowly, watching the firelight reflect on the glass. He thought of his wife, how she always used to say that life was about small gestures, about seeing the people beside you, about not closing yourself off in your own world. "She takes after you," Damien whispered to the ornament, as if his wife could hear him. "She has your heart." Upstairs, he heard Haley talking excitedly on the phone, and for the first time in a long time, Damien felt that this year's Christmas would be different, not because of the expensive tree, nor the wrapped presents, nor the elaborate dinner, but because his daughter had taught him something he had forgotten. That the real gift of Christmas wasn't in the boxes, it was in the people. The doorbell rang at exactly 5 in the afternoon. Haley almost dropped the glass of juice she was drinking. She ran out of the kitchen, her bare feet pattering on the wooden floor. "She's here, she's here." Damien put down the napkin he was folding on the table and went after his daughter. By the time he reached the entrance, Haley had already opened the door. On the other side stood Maya. She was a small girl for her age, thin, with light blonde hair tied in a simple ponytail. Her blue eyes were wide, looking at the house as if she had never seen anything so big. She wore a light blue cotton dress, a little faded at the edges, but clean and well ironed. You could see that someone had taken great care with the iron. On her feet, a pair of black flats that had seen better days, but were carefully polished. In her hands, she held a folded piece of paper so carefully it seemed precious. "Maya!" Haley shouted and threw herself into her friend's arms. Maya almost fell backward from the impact but laughed, hugging Haley back. The two of them squeezed each other there in the doorway, laughing and jumping as if they hadn't seen each other in months, when in reality they had said goodbye at school just 2 days before. "Hi, Haley." "You came? I was so excited I couldn't even sleep." "Me too," Maya admitted, her cheeks blushing. "I woke up super early today." Damien stood just behind them, watching. There was something about Maya's posture, a mix of shyness and determination, that caught his attention. She was just a child, but she seemed to carry an invisible weight on her shoulders. At the same time, her eyes shone with a genuine joy that was impossible to miss. When the girls let go, Maya finally looked at him. She straightened her back, nervous. "Good afternoon, sir." Her voice came out quiet, respectful. Damien smiled, trying to put her at ease. "Good afternoon, Maya. You can call me Damien, okay? You don't have to be so formal." "Okay, Mr. Damien." She took a small step forward, still holding the folded paper tightly. Thank you for inviting me. My grandma said to thank you too. It was a pleasure. We're happy you came. Maya took a deep breath, gathering her courage. Then she extended the paper to him with both hands. I made something for you. Haley grabbed the paper before her father could react, curious. When she opened it, her eyes lit up like stars. Dad! Look how beautiful. Damien moved closer. It was a colorful drawing made with crayons. In the center, 3 figures holding hands, a small blonde girl in a red dress, another slightly bigger one in a pink dress, and a tall man in a blue shirt. At the top of the page, written in crooked but neat letters, Merry Christmas, Haley's family. Around them, Maya had drawn yellow stars, white snowflakes, red hearts, and even a green Christmas tree with colorful baubles. Every detail had been done with care. You could tell by the way the crayon had been applied, without rushing. I made it for you, Maya said again, this time with a shy but hopeful smile. I didn't have money to buy a real present, so I drew. I hope you like it. Damien felt something stir inside his chest. He took the drawing carefully, as if it were the most valuable thing in the world. It's beautiful, Maya. Thank you so much. Really? Her eyes widened, incredulous. Isn't it too crooked? I tried to make the people the same size, but it's hard. It's perfect. He looked at the girl, saw the insecurity hidden behind her smile. You know what? I'm going to put it on the fridge. That way, everyone who comes into the kitchen will see it. You will? Maya's eyes widened even more, surprised. Thas, but it's just a drawing. It's your drawing, Damien corrected gently. That makes all the difference. A huge smile spread across Maya's face. Haley pulled her friend by the hand, impatient. Come on, I made something for you too. It's in my room. The two of them ran up the stairs, their laughter echoing through the hallways. Damien was left alone in the entrance, holding the drawing. He ran his thumb over the crooked signature in the bottom right corner. Maya, 8 years old. Simple. Honest. Real. He went to the kitchen and stuck the paper on the refrigerator with a star-shaped magnet. He took a step back, admiring it. Among the utility bills, appointment reminders and shopping lists, that childish drawing suddenly seemed like the most important item there. Upstairs, he heard loud laughter. The girls were in Haley's room, already immersed in their own world. Damien went up slowly, stopping at the half-open door to watch without interrupting. Haley was showing a card she had made, red paper folded in half, with a Christmas tree drawn on the front and green glitter glued to the edges. Inside, she had written in gold pen, For my best friend Maya, Merry Christmas. I love you so much. Haley. I made it in secret. Haley handed the card to her friend with pride. I wanted to give it to you as a surprise on the right day. Maya held the card with both hands, looking at every detail as if memorizing it. She ran her finger over the glitter, read the words 3 times. Her eyes welled up. It's so beautiful, Haley. You put so much effort into it. Do you really like it? For real? I love it. Maya hugged her friend again, squeezing tightly. No one has ever made a card for me, not at school, not for my birthday, never. Haley pulled away, holding her friend's shoulders. Now you have one, and I'll make you another one every year. You can count on it. You promise? I promise. Best friends promise. The two of them linked their pinky fingers in a solemn gesture, then closed their eyes and made the motion of sealing the promise. When they opened their eyes, they burst into laughter. Damien felt his chest tighten again. There was so much purity in that friendship. No fakeness, no self-interest, no judgment. Just two children who genuinely liked each other, without caring about differences. And now, Maya looked around the room, enchanted by the pink walls, the floral curtains, the big bed full of pillows. What are we going to play? Dolls! Haley ran to the closet and pulled out a large box full of toys. You pick which one you want. You can have any of them. Maya knelt beside the box, looking everything over carefully. There were at least 10 dolls in there, of all types and sizes, some with party dresses, others with casual clothes, some even with accessories like little purses and extra shoes. Wow, you have so many dolls, Maya whispered. impressed. "You can pick anyone," Haley encouraged, sitting beside her. "They're all nice." Maya ran her hand over several of them, hesitant, as if she didn't want to choose the wrong one. She finally picked up a doll with brown hair, wearing a simple pink dress without many frills. "This one, she's pretty. Good choice." "That's Sophia." Haley picked up another doll, a blonde one in a more elaborate blue dress. "And this is Isabella. They're sisters in the story I made up." "Sisters?" Maya's eyes lit up. "What story? Want me to tell you, or should we make up a new one together?" "Let's make a new one," Maya proposed, excited. "That's more fun." And so it began. The two girls, sitting on the fluffy bedroom rug, created an entire universe. The dolls were sisters who lived in a magical forest where the animals could talk. There was a castle made of stacked pillows, an imaginary dragon that was actually nice and vegetarian, and a mission to save a chocolate kingdom that was melting because of a spell. Damien leaned against the door, just watching. He couldn't remember the last time he had seen Haley so happy, so free, so much a child. Since her mother's death, she had become quieter, more withdrawn, carrying a sadness that shouldn't exist in someone so young. But there, with Maya, it was as if a piece of the girl she used to be had returned. And Maya. Maya laughed non-stop. It was a clean, contagious laugh, full of life. She made up funny voices for the characters, made the dolls dance and jump, created unexpected twists in the story. For someone who had almost nothing, she had a limitless imagination and a joy that sprang from within. "Mr. Damien," he blinked. Maya was looking at him with those curious blue eyes. "Want to play with us?" Haley turned her face, excited. "Yeah, Dad, you can be the king of the pillow castle." Damien laughed, a little awkwardly. "I don't know how to play with dolls. It's been a long time." "It's easy," Maya assured him, seriously. "You just have to use a deep voice and boss things around." "All kings do that." "Boss things around?" "Yeah, like this. Bring me my dinner immediately." Maya imitated an exaggerated and pompous voice, placing her hand on her chest dramatically. Both girls burst into laughter, and Damien couldn't resist. He entered the room, sat on the floor with them, something he hadn't done in years. And for the next 20 minutes, he was King Damien of the Pillow Kingdom. He decreed absurd laws like, every Monday is ice cream for breakfast day, fought the nice dragon with an invisible sword, and even danced with the cloth princesses at an imaginary ball. The girls loved every second. And so did he, more than he expected. When he finally got up, his knees aching and his face sore from laughing so much, he looked at the clock on the wall. "Girls, dinner is almost ready. Go wash your hands." They obeyed, running, still laughing and playfully pushing each other on the way to the bathroom. Damien went down to the kitchen. The dining room table was already set. A white linen tablecloth, polished silverware, lit candles in silver candlesticks. In the center, a golden and fragrant roast turkey, creamy mashed potatoes, colorful grilled vegetables, homemade gravy, and a platter of warm bread fresh from the oven. Everything was perfect, maybe even too much for a simple evening. But it was Christmas. The girls came down shortly after as hands washed and stopped at the entrance to the dining room. Maya's jaw dropped. "Wow, is all this real?" "It is, all for us," Haley smiled. "Sit here next to me." She pulled her friend to the chair beside her. Damien served the plates, putting a little of everything. Maya looked at the food as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing, her eyes scanning every dish. "You can eat as much as you want, Maya. There's plenty for everyone." She picked up her fork slowly, tried the mashed potatoes, her eyes closed in pleasure. "Yes, this is delicious. I've never had such good mashed potatoes." "Dad's a great cook," Haley said proudly, stuffing a piece of turkey into her mouth. "Really?" Maya looked at Damien, genuinely impressed. "Who did you learn from?" "More or less on my own," he shrugged modestly. "I learned after my wife passed away. Someone had to cook, and I was the only adult in the house." Maya was quiet for a second, chewing slowly. Then she looked at Haley with an expression of deep understanding, one that went beyond her age. "Did your mum go to heaven too?" Haley nodded, her voice coming out softer. "She did. 2 years ago now." "That must be hard," Maya said gently. "I never even knew my dad and mum. They died when I was just a baby in a car accident. Damien stopped eating mid-forkful. He looked at the girl, feeling his chest tighten. What about your parents, Maya? Haley told me you live with your grandma, but do you remember anything about them? No. I don't remember anything. Maya took another forkful of potatoes, pragmatic. My grandma has taken care of me since forever. She says my mom was pretty and my dad was funny. She shows me pictures sometimes. And what's it like living with your grandma? It's good, Maya smiled, and it was a genuine smile. She's very good to me. She works a lot, selling cakes to the neighbors and for orders. And at night, when she's tired, she always finds a little time to read me a story before I go to sleep. What kind of stories does she read? Princesses, adventures, talking animals, everything. Maya's eyes shone as she spoke. And when there's no book, she makes one up. She says the best stories are in our heads, not in books. We just have to find them. Damien felt a different kind of ache in his chest. That woman he didn't even know, who worked selling cakes to get by, who slept on the couch so her granddaughter could have a bed, already had all his respect. She sounds like an amazing person. She is. I'm very lucky, Maya said with total conviction. Lucky. The girl who had almost no material possessions considered herself lucky because she had love, because she had someone who cared, because she had a grandmother who read stories even when she was tired. The dinner continued with light conversation and laughter. The girls told bad jokes they had learned at school. Damien pretended not to understand some of them, just to watch them explain between giggles. And Maya tried everything on her plate, eating slowly, savoring each bite as if she wanted to store that moment in her memory. When they finished, Haley was practically jumping in her chair with anticipation. Dad now. Can we now? Now what? Damien pretended not to know. You know. She slapped her hands on the table, impatient. Damien laughed, getting up. All right, calm down, I'll go get them. He left the room and returned with 2 identically wrapped packages, shiny gold paper, a big, perfect red bow, each with a small card hanging from it. He placed the presents on the table, one in front of each girl. Maya looked at the package in front of her, then at Haley, then back at the package. Confused. Is this? For you two, Damien smiled, sitting back down. Maya's eyes widened. For me too, but Of course it's for you too. But I didn't bring anything but the drawing. Her voice trembled. It's not fair. The drawing was the best present I could have received, Damien assured her, looking into her eyes. Really, Maya, and now it's your turn to open your presents. Haley was already tearing at the paper with enthusiasm, excited and impatient. Maya looked at her friend, then at the beautiful gift in front of her, and began to open it slowly, with extreme care not to tear the paper, as if she wanted to preserve it intact. When they lifted the lids off the boxes at the same time, they both screamed, "Dolls!" But they weren't ordinary store-bought dolls. They were handmade, artisanal with delicately embroidered clothes, long blonde hair made of soft wool, and bright eyes painted with details that made them look almost real. And on each dress, embroidered in small, neat letters with golden thread, was a name. Haley! The girl held up the doll with her name on it. Dad, it has my name. And look, she's blonde with light eyes just like me. Maya was completely frozen. She held the doll with both arms, staring at the name embroidered on the white lace dress. Maya. It has my name. Her voice came out shaky, almost a whisper. My real name. I had them specially made for you two, Damien explained gently. Each one with your name and your features. They're one of a kind. Maya hugged the doll against her chest as if it were a baby. The tears she had been trying to hold back began to roll down her face, silent. No one's ever, she sobbed, trying to speak. No one's ever given me a present like this. A present just for me, with my name on it. Haley put her own doll down on the chair and hugged her friend tightly. So now you have one, and she'll be yours forever, Maya. For real, forever. Forever. Maya looked at her friend with tear-filled eyes. Forever and a day. Maya cried and laughed at the same time, cradling the doll as if it were the most precious treasure in the world. She looked at Damien with eyes shining with pure gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Damien. Thank you so much. I will take care of her with all my love, I promise." He felt his throat tighten with emotion. He had to take a deep breath before he could answer. "You're welcome, Maya. Merry Christmas." She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, without letting go of the doll for a second. She looked at the doll, then at him, then at Haley. "This is the best Christmas of my entire life." And in that simple sentence, spoken by an 8-year-old child who had never had anything but a grandmother's love, Damien understood something profound. He had given her a material gift, but she had given him something infinitely greater, a reminder of what truly mattered in life, of what was truly valuable. And that was priceless. The car glided through the deserted streets. The snow had stopped falling, but the ground was still covered by a white blanket that shimmered under the light of the lampposts. Damien drove slowly, in no hurry, enjoying the quiet peace of Christmas night. In the back seat, Maya was sitting buckled up, hugging the doll against her chest as if it were the most precious treasure in the world. She hadn't let go of it for a second since she opened the present. Every now and then, she would run her hand through the doll's blonde hair, touch the name embroidered on the dress, and smile to herself. Haley was turned around, leaning on the seat, talking quietly with her friend. "Are you going to sleep with her tonight?" "I am," Maya assured her. "I'm going to put her right beside me in bed. That way she won't be alone." "You need to give her a different name." "But she already has a name, Maya." "No, silly," Haley laughed. "A name just for her. Like Sophia, Clara, Luna, I don't know." Maya thought for a moment. Very seriously, "I'm going to call her Hope." "Hope? Why that name?" "Because that's what I felt when I got her," Maya explained simply. "Hope that good things can happen, that there are good people in the world." Damien heard every word through the rearview mirror. He felt his chest tighten. That girl had a way of speaking that went straight to the soul. Haley was quiet for a few seconds, looking at her friend. Then she turned to her father, her voice lowering. "Dad." "Yes, sweetie." "She's never had this, you know." "Had what?" Damien adjusted the mirror. Haley pointed discreetly at Maya, who was distracted, looking out the window. "A real Christmas?" The words hung in the air heavy. Damien felt a lump in his throat. "What do you mean?" "A Christmas with a big tree, with shining ornaments, with presents, with dinner on a full table." Her voice came out as a whisper. "With people who truly care. She's never had any of that before today." Damien gripped the steering wheel. He didn't know what to say. He looked in the rear-view mirror again. Maya had rested her head against the window, still hugging the doll, Hope, a half-smile on her face. She looked so small, so fragile, and at the same time, so strong. "It's sad, isn't it, Dad?" "It is," he admitted. "It's very sad, sweetie." They turned onto a narrower street. The scenery changed quickly. The houses here were much smaller, simpler. The lighting was dim. There were no elaborate Christmas decorations, just a few simple lights here and there. "It's there, Mr. Damien," Maya pointed. "The light blue one." Damien parked in front. It was a small house indeed, with paint peeling at the edges, a small window in the front with a mended curtain. The roof had misaligned tiles, but the small yard was tidy, and a yellow light was on inside. "Thank you for the ride, Mr. Damien." Maya unbuckled her seatbelt, clutching the doll. "And thank you for everything. It was the best day of my life." "Wait a minute." Damien turned off the engine. "Let me get something." He opened the trunk. Haley got out too, curious. In the back was a large bag he had prepared. Rice, beans, pasta, oil, sugar, flour, milk, coffee, fruit, and chocolates. "Dad?" Haley's eyes widened. "I thought I'd bring this for Maya's grandmother," Damien explained. "Just to help out." Haley smiled, proud. "Can I come with you?" "Of course." Maya was on the sidewalk. When she saw the bag, her eyes widened. "Is that—" "A few things for your grandmother," Damien said casually. "I thought she might like them." "But that's so much." "It's Christmas." "May I deliver it personally?" Maya hesitated, looking at the door. Then she smiled. "Come on. Come meet my Grandma Margot." They entered a tiny living room. There was an old but clean sofa, a scratched coffee table, a makeshift shelf with a few books and photos. The floor was worn wood planks, the walls had peeling paint, but everything was lovingly arranged, and the smell of cake in the air was welcoming. "Grandma," Maya called. "I'm back, and I brought visitors." A door at the back opened, and Margot appeared. She was a woman in her early 60s, with grey hair tied in a bun, her face lined by time but with a sweet expression. Her brown eyes were kind, tired but full of light. She wore a simple cotton dress and a flower-stained apron. "Maya, my dear." She opened her arms. "How was it?" Maya ran into them. "It was wonderful, Grandma. Look." She showed her the doll. "They gave it to me as a present. It has my name embroidered on it." Margot took the doll carefully, admiring it. Her eyes filled with tears. "Besides, what a beautiful thing. I named her Hope," Maya explained. "Hope," Margot repeated, stroking the doll. "It's a perfect name." "Good evening." Damien stepped forward. "Sorry to show up unannounced. I'm Damien, Haley's father." Margot looked at him, and when their eyes met, something crossed her face. Surprise. Recognition. "Good evening." Her voice came out soft. "Thank you so much for having Maya." She couldn't stop talking about the dinner. "It was a pleasure." Damien held out the bag. "I brought a few things. I hope you'll accept them." Margot took the bag, looked inside. She was quiet. When she looked up, she was moved. "This is very generous." "Thank you so much." "You're welcome." Margot placed the bag on the floor and wiped her hands on her apron. Then she looked back at him, studying his face. "Damien, that's a nice name. It's not very common." "It isn't." Margot took a deep breath. Her hands trembled. I used to be a nanny for a boy with that name years ago." Damien felt something stir inside him. A distant memory trying to surface. "Really, where was that?" "In a big house, on the outskirts of the city, near the lake," Margot continued, nostalgic. "I worked there for about 3 years. The boy must have been about 5 or 6 when I started." Damien's heart sped up. "And what was the boy like?" "Oh," Margot smiled sadly. "He was sweet. Very sweet and polite, but so lonely. His parents worked all the time, traveled a lot. They were almost never home. That boy spent all day alone in that huge mansion." Damien felt the ground shift beneath him. The images came flooding back. A huge house, silent hallways, empty rooms. The loneliness. "I was the one who really took care of him," Margot continued. "I gave him his baths, brushed his hair, made his food, took him to school. And at night, when he couldn't sleep because he was scared or felt lonely, I stayed there. I'd sit on the edge of his bed, hold his little hand, and tell him stories until he fell asleep." Tears began to form in Damien's eyes. He remembered those hands, that soft voice. "Margot," his voice came out hoarse, "do you remember the family's last name?" She looked at him, her eyes slowly widening. "Morrison." The word came out in a whisper. Absolute silence. The world stopped. "That boy." Damien could barely speak. "That was me." Margot covered her mouth, taking a step back. Her legs trembled. "My God, it's your little Damien." "I am." The tears streamed down his face. "I remember you. I remember you smelled like cake. I remember you singing me to sleep. I remember you drying my tears when I was alone." "My God!" She shook her head, incredulous, but moved closer, looking closely at his face. "The eyes, you still have those eyes? I looked for you," Damien said, his voice breaking. "When I grew up, but you had disappeared. Nobody knew where you were." "They fired me out of the blue," Margot explained, crying. "They said they didn't need a nanny anymore. I could never go back. I never saw you again. I missed you so much. Me too, my boy." Damien didn't think. He just acted. He took a step and hugged her. It was a tight, desperate hug, filled with decades of longing. Margot felt small and frail in his arms now. But Damien still felt that same comfort, that same warmth. "You were the only person who showed me real affection back then," Damien confessed, sobbing. The only one who made me feel like I mattered. I loved you as if you were my own, Margot cried on his shoulder. You were more of a mother to me than my own mother in those years. They stayed like that for a long time, just holding each other, crying together, letting decades of pain and longing dissolve in that embrace. Haley and Maya watched, holding hands, not understanding everything but sensing it was important. When they pulled apart, Margot held his face with both hands, looking at him as if she were seeing a miracle. You look so handsome, so different from the little boy I knew. And you're still the same amazing person, Damien smiled through his tears. You still have that sweet look in your eyes. Margot laughed, wiping her face with her apron. I'm old now. Full of wrinkles. You're beautiful. They sat together on the creaking sofa. The girls settled on the floor, quietly. Damien looked around the simple room. He noticed every detail, the peeling walls, and especially Margot's hands, calloused with burn marks, fingers swollen from so much work. Do you still work? Margot nodded, following his gaze. Yes. I sell cakes, sir. It's what supports us. And where do you sell them? From home. I wake up early, make the cakes. Maya helps me pack them when she gets back from school. She smiled. I take orders for neighbors, for small parties. It's not much, but it covers the basics. Maya's school supplies, food, electricity, water. I like to help, Maya chimed in. So Grandma teaches me how to make colored frosting. She's a great helper. Margot smiled lovingly at her granddaughter. I don't know what I'd do without her. Damien looked at her worn hands again. Hands that had once held his when he was a child. That had wiped his tears. That now worked until they bled to take care of another child. He felt something break inside him. Margot? Yes? He took a deep breath, making a decision. You won't have to do that anymore. She blinked, confused. Do what? Sell cakes to survive. Work until your hands look like this. He pointed. I'm going to take care of you. Margot froze. Damien, you don't have to. Yes, I do. He leaned forward, firmly. You took care of me when I needed it most. When I was a lonely boy in an empty house. You were the only person who showed me real affection back then. I was just doing my job. No. Damien shook his head firmly. You did so much more. You loved me. You protected me. You made me feel like I mattered. You gave me hope. He looked at Maya holding the doll. Oh, just like this doll gave Maya hope today, and now it's my turn to repay all of that. Tears rolled down Margot's face again. But I can't accept charity. It's not charity. Damien took her hand, that marked, tired hand. It's gratitude. It's justice. It's love. It's... He paused. It's family. The word echoed powerfully in the small room. Family. Margot sobbed loudly, covering her face with her free hand. Damien, I don't know. You can. He squeezed her hand firmly. You took care of me. Now it's my turn to take care of you. Both of you. You and Maya. Let me do this. Please. Let me repay even a small part of everything you did for me. Margot tried to protest, but she looked to the side. She saw her granddaughter, Maya, hugging the doll named Hope, looking up with those blue eyes full of real hope. Then she looked back at Damien, at the little boy she had cared for decades ago, who was now here, a grown, strong man, offering his hand back. Life had come full circle. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Damien squeezed her hand more firmly. Just accept. A heavy silence fell in the room. Margot closed her eyes tightly, letting the tears flow freely. Her whole body trembled. Then, very slowly, she nodded. Okay, I accept. Really, Grandma? Maya's voice came out excited, full of joy. Why, for real, my dear. Maya let go of the doll and threw herself into her grandmother's arms. Haley ran over too. Soon they were all hugging in a tangle of arms, laughter and happy tears. When they pulled apart, everyone had red eyes and huge smiles. Damien wiped his face. He looked around. The small room, the peeling walls, the old sofa, the worn floor. But he saw it all with completely different eyes now. It wasn't just a poor house in need of repairs. It was a home, full of love, of history, of memory, and now of future. "I'll be back tomorrow morning," Damien promised, standing up and helping Margot to her feet. "We'll sit down and talk properly about everything, about what you need, about how I can really help. About the future. You've already helped so much," Margot murmured, moved. "I haven't helped at all yet," he smiled. "But I will. I promise you that, from the bottom of my heart. It's a promise I make to you, to Maya, and to the little boy I used to be." Margot walked them to the door. On the threshold, she held his arm tightly. "Damien? Yes. Thank you." Her voice was pure emotion. "For everything, for remembering me after all this time, for not forgetting me, for being such a good and generous man." He felt his throat close up completely. "I'm the one who should thank you, Margot, for being my light when everything around me was just darkness and loneliness, for saving me without even knowing you were saving me." They hugged one more time, quick, strong, tight, full of meaning. When Damien and Haley got into the car, Maya and Margot were standing at the door of the blue house, waving. The yellow light from the living room illuminated the two figures, a small girl with a doll named Hope in her arms, and an old woman with hands marked by work. But now, finally, with hope shining in both their eyes, Damien started the car slowly. He waved back. He watched in the rearview mirror as he drove away. "Dad." Haley touched his arm lightly. "Yes, sweetie? Are you crying again?" He quickly wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. "A little, but these are good tears this time." "Why?" "Because..." Damien took a deep breath, trying to control his emotion. "Because today, I found someone I thought I had lost forever. Someone very, very important. And because life, sometimes, takes strange but incredibly right turns, and because I learned that it's never too late to give back love." Haley didn't understand every word, but she caught the feeling. She smiled. "I really liked Grandma Margot." "Me too, sweetie," Damien smiled back. "Genuinely, I always have. I had just forgotten how much she meant to me." The car moved slowly down the narrow street, leaving the little blue house smaller and smaller in the rearview mirror. But not for long. Because now, that house was truly a part of their lives. Those two women were part of their family, and nothing, absolutely nothing, would be the same again. The greatest transformation was yet to come. It was 2 days after Christmas. The little blue house hadn't changed physically. The walls still had peeling paint. The sofa still creaked. The wooden floor still groaned. But there was something different in the air, something alive, something that wasn't there before. Damien had returned the morning after Christmas, as promised. He brought groceries, talked to Margot about the household bills, got to know the place better, and he came back again the next day. Margot was still getting used to it all, not quite sure how to act, but she slowly began to relax. She started to understand that he would really come back. That Friday afternoon, Damien arrived with Haley and a large bag. "Anyone home? We're here." Maya's voice came from the living room, cheerful. He walked in to find the two girls sitting on the wooden floor, talking quietly. Maya still had the doll Hope nearby, carefully propped against the wall as if she were part of the conversation. "Hi, Dad." Haley jumped up and ran to him. "Or did you bring what I asked for?" "I did." Damien held up the bag with a smile. "Modeling clay. I bought every color they had at the store." Maya's eyes widened, shining with excitement. "Real modeling clay. The real deal." He opened the bag, showing the colorful containers organized inside. "I thought you two would like to play with this." "You can make whatever you want. Let's go," the two answered at the same time, excited, already reaching out their little hands. In a few minutes, the living room floor was covered in scattered clay, red, yellow, blue, green, pink, orange, purple. The girls started creating shapes, completely focused, their tongues sticking out in concentration. Margot appeared at the kitchen door, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Her grey hair was tied in a bun, her face flushed from the heat of the oven, and an apron was tied around her waist. "What a colourful mess," she smiled. And it was a genuine smile. "Sorry." Damien made a slightly embarrassed face. "I should have asked if it was okay first." No, you don't need to apologize. Margot shook her head. It's good. It's been a long time since I've seen Maya play like this. So free, so much like a child. Grandma, Maya called, looking back. We're making a pretend bakery. A bakery? Margot came closer, curious. Oh yeah. Haley showed a pink ball of clay with yellow specks stuck on top. This one is a strawberry cake with sprinkles. And this is bread. Maya showed a flattened shape with lines scored into it with her fingernail. Look, it even has the cuts the baker makes. It looks lovely. Margot bent down to get a better look. How you two have a talent. Can you teach us how to do it better? Maya asked hopefully. You're the real baker. Margot looked at her granddaughter, then at Haley, then at Damien. He gave her an encouraging nod. Of course, I can, Margot decided. Then I'll teach you how I used to play when I was a child, your age exactly. She sat on the floor with some difficulty, her joints cracking, but with a smile on her face. She took a piece of brown clay and started to mold it. Look, to make real bread, we knead it like this, see? She demonstrated the motion. And then we make this long shape. The girls watched, fascinated, trying to imitate her. Damien stood there for a moment, just watching the three of them on the floor. There was a lightness in the air that hadn't existed 2 days ago. There were quiet laughs, animated conversations, life happening. He went to the kitchen, leaving the three of them entertained. The smell coming from there was irresistible, fresh bread baking in the oven. Margot had left 3 loaves to rise. They were golden, perfect, filling the entire house with a welcoming aroma that would make anyone's mouth water. Damien took a deep breath, closing his eyes. That smell. It reminded him of his childhood. It reminded him of Margot making special bread for him on the weekends. It reminded him of sitting in the kitchen, swinging his little legs, waiting eagerly to eat. "Mr. Damien! Come see!" Maya shouted from the living room, excited. He went back quickly. The floor had now turned into a complete bakery scene. The girls, with Margot's help, had arranged the clay creations in neat rows on an overturned shoebox, as if it were a real display case. There were cakes of various sizes, long loaves of bread, round cookies, all made with childish care but full of creativity. "Welcome to the Friends Bakery," Maya announced with a solemn voice, making an exaggerated bow that drew laughter. Haley stood behind the makeshift counter, putting on a serious expression of a professional clerk. "What can I get for you today, sir?" Damien got completely into the game, pretending to think hard, stroking his chin in an exaggerated way. It's hard to choose. Everything looks so beautiful. What do you recommend?" "This cake here." Maya pointed excitedly to a slightly crooked tower of red clay with yellow details. "It's our special product. It's made with magic sugar." "Magic sugar?" Damien's eyes widened, impressed. "Wow! And what's so special about this sugar?" "It makes you happy all day long," Maya explained with all the conviction in the world. "And it also gives superpowers to whoever eats it." "Real superpowers? What kind?" "The power to fly really high," Haley listed, counting on her fingers. "The power to turn invisible whenever you want. And the power to make everyone laugh just by looking at them." Margot, sitting on the floor next to the girls, let out a hearty laugh. It was a light, clean laugh that seemed like it hadn't come from her in a long time. Damien laughed too, infected by the joy of the moment. "Then I definitely want that magic cake," he decided firmly. "I need those superpowers." "How much is it?" "3 big hugs," Haley decreed seriously. "That's our special price. 3 hugs." Damien feigned surprise and concern. "But that's expensive, ladies. Don't you give a discount?" "No," Maya shook her head. "It's a very special cake. With sugar imported from the land of magic, it's worth every hug." All right. You've convinced me. "I'll pay." Damien knelt on the floor, and the 2 girls threw themselves at him at the same time, hugging him tightly. He wrapped his big arms around both of them, feeling the warmth of their small bodies, hearing their sweet giggles in his ears, feeling their blonde hair tickling his face. When they finally let go, Haley picked up the clay cake and handed it to her father with all possible ceremony. "Here you go, Mr. Customer. Eat it very carefully because it's really magic. The powers appear in 3 hours. I'll cherish it. The game continued with excitement. Margot bought a loaf of rainbow-flavored bread, which, according to the girls, changed taste with every bite. First strawberry, then chocolate, then vanilla. Damien bought star-shaped cookies that theoretically glowed in the dark and could be used as a flashlight. Time passed without anyone noticing. The afternoon wore on. The light coming through the window changed color, becoming more golden, softer. During a pause in the game, Damien found himself sitting on the old sofa next to Margot. The girls had stopped for a drink of water and were now back to creating new products for the bakery. "Look at this," Margot whispered softly, her voice filled with genuine emotion. "Just look and listen." Damien paid attention. It was the sound of the girls laughing quietly as they talked. It was the delicious smell of fresh bread coming from the kitchen and filling the house. It was the golden late afternoon light streaming through the window and gently illuminating everything. "The house used to be so quiet," Margot continued in a low voice, almost a whisper. "It was just me and Maya, and I worked so much, woke up so early, went to bed so late that I barely had time or energy to play with her. The silence was too heavy. It felt like something was missing, you know." "And now?" Damien asked, looking at her. "Now there's life again. There's the sound of children laughing and playing. There's the smell of food made calmly, not out of desperation. There's light coming in." She looked at him with misty eyes. "You brought all of this back, Damien. You brought life back to this house." He held her hand, that hand that was starting to look less marked, less swollen. "We brought hope to each other. Margot, you gave that to me when I was little. I'm just returning it now." Margot squeezed his hand back, unable to speak, just nodding in agreement. In their game, Maya had taken small plastic cups and was serving imaginary tea to Haley. "This tea is made from rare magic flowers," she explained seriously. "What kind of flowers?" "The kind that makes you dream of beautiful things at night, of the whole family together, of everyone smiling and happy." The two of them drank the invisible tea, lifting the empty cups with all due ceremony, and then smiled at each other. "Mr. Damien," Maya called, waving. Do you want some magic tea with us?" "I'd love some." He got up from the sofa and went to sit on the floor with them. Margot came too, with some difficulty, but with a wide smile. The four of them sat there, in a circle on the floor of that small living room, playing with imaginary tea, eating made-up clay cakes, laughing at silly things, creating memories. And at that exact moment, in that tiny house that 2 days ago was only heavy silence and deep exhaustion, there was something completely different. There was genuine laughter. There was the smell of fresh bread filling every corner. There was the sound of childhood bringing life back. Outside, a few white clouds drifted slowly across the blue sky. But inside the little blue house, everything was warmth and light. The sun was just beginning to set when Margot appeared at the living room door, wiping her hands on her apron. "Damien?" He looked up. He was sitting on the floor with the girls, helping to put the modeling clay back into its containers. "Yes. Do you and Haley have plans for dinner?" Damien blinked, surprised by the question. "No. Why?" Margot hesitated for a moment, as if gathering her courage. "I made dinner. Nothing too special, but I thought maybe you'd like to stay, have dinner with us." There was something in her voice, a shyness, a fear of asking for too much. "We'd love to," Damien replied quickly, smiling. "We really would." Margot's face lit up. "Then it's a plan. I'll finish setting the table." "Yay!" Maya jumped up, excited. "We're all having dinner together." "Can I help, Grandma?" Haley offered, already getting up from the floor. "Yes, you can, dear. Come with me." The two girls ran into the kitchen after Margot, leaving Damien alone in the living room. He sat there on the floor for another moment, just watching. He heard the excited voices coming from the kitchen, quiet laughter, the clatter of dishes. He got up slowly and went to the kitchen door. The three of them were busy, Margot stirring a pot on the stove, Maya placing napkins on the small table, Haley carefully arranging the plates. "Need any help?" he offered. No, everything's under control." Margot smiled over her shoulder. "Just a few more minutes." Damien leaned against the doorframe, just observing. There was something comforting about the scene, something that moved him in a way he couldn't quite explain. "Done," Maya announced proudly. "The table is set." "Now, for the most important part," Haley said mysteriously. "What's that?" Margot asked, curious. "The enchanted juice." Maya clapped her hands, joining the game instantly. "That's right. Every restaurant needs enchanted juice." "Enchanted juice?" Margot laughed. "And how do you make that?" "We make it up," Maya explained. "I'll get the cups." She opened a low cabinet and took out some colorful plastic toy cups. She filled them with tap water and returned to the small table. "There. Now we pretend it's special juice." "What kind of juice?" Haley asked, fully in character. "Juice of stars," Maya decided. "It's golden, sparkly, and whoever drinks it has good luck all day." "And it also makes you stronger," Haley added. "And happier," Maya completed. Margot turned off the stove and brought a platter of rice, another of beans, and a third with roast chicken that smelled wonderful. She carefully placed everything on the small table. "Come on, it's all ready." The four of them squeezed around the small table. It was too small for 4 people, but no one complained. Damien sat on a wooden chair that creaked under his weight, Margot on another, and the girls shared a stool. "Today, this is Grandma Margot's restaurant," Maya announced with a solemn voice, raising her plastic cup. "And it's the best restaurant in town. And you, Daddy, are the special customer," Haley added, also raising her cup. Damien laughed, picking up his own toy cup and raising it as well. "Then I am honored." "Cheers," the girls said together, clinking their cups. They started to eat. The food was simple but delicious. The rice was fluffy, the beans were perfectly seasoned. The chicken was tender and juicy. Margot didn't have much, but she knew how to cook it well. "This is delicious, Grandma," Maya praised with her mouth full. "It's really good," Haley agreed. "Perfect," Damien added. "Seriously, Margot, you're a wonderful cook." She blushed a little, embarrassed by the compliments. "Oh, it's just simple food, nothing special." "Good food doesn't have to be complicated," Damien said. "It needs to be made with love. And you can feel the love here." Margot smiled, her eyes welling up. She quickly looked away, pretending to be busy serving more rice to Maya. The dinner continued with light conversation. The girls talked about the modeling clay, the imaginary bakery, the superpowers of the magic cake. They laughed, interrupted each other, and made Margot and Damien laugh too. At one point, Damien stopped eating. He just sat there, his fork paused in midair, looking around. The small, warm kitchen, the smell of home-cooked food in the air, the sound of the girls laughing, the yellow light from the bulb softly illuminating everything. Margot smiling as she listened to her granddaughter's stories. He took a deep breath, feeling something tighten in his chest. "Damien," Margot noticed, "are you okay?" He blinked, coming back to reality. "I am. I was just thinking." "Thinking about what?" Damien looked at her, then at the girls, then back at the kitchen. "This smell," he began, his voice low. "For this peace, this feeling of sitting at a cramped table, eating simple food, listening to children's laughter." He paused, swallowing hard. "It reminds me of when I was happy. When you worked at our house. I was just a boy. I didn't understand much. I didn't know how to name what I was feeling, but it was this." He gestured around. "It was this feeling right here. Of belonging, of having someone who cares." His voice wavered slightly at the end. "I was happy back then, even without knowing I was." Silence fell at the table. The girls had stopped eating, looking at Haley's father without fully understanding, but sensing it was important. Margot reached her hand across the table and touched Damien's. Her eyes were full of tears, but she was smiling. It was a sad smile, but also full of love. "I knew," she whispered. "I always knew those moments were special. That's why I tried to do the best I could. Even though it was just my job, I wanted you to feel loved." "And I did." Damien squeezed her hand. "You have no idea how much—" Maya looked at her grandmother, then at Damien, and a huge smile spread across her face. "You were already family before," she concluded. "Before me and Haley were even born." "That's true," Haley agreed, excited. "How cool." The tension broke. Everyone laughed, discreetly wiping their eyes. The rest of the dinner passed in a lighter mood. When they finished, the girls insisted on washing the dishes. Margot tried to protest, but they wouldn't let her. "It's the job of the restaurant helpers," Maya declared. "You rest." All right," Margot gave in, laughing. Damien and Margot went to the small porch at the back of the house. It was just a concrete step with a view of the tiny yard, but there was a wooden bench there. They sat side by side. The air was cool, the night falling slowly. Inside the house, they could hear the girls talking excitedly as they washed the dishes. They were silent for a while, just enjoying the moment. Then Margot took a deep breath. "Damien..." Something in her voice made him look at her quickly. "Yes?" She was looking at her own hands in her lap. Hesitant, nervous. "I need to tell you something." His heart pounded. "What? What is it?" Margot took another moment. Then, slowly, she took his hands in hers. "Damien, I have cancer." The world stopped. "What?" His voice came out strangled. "I found out a few months ago," she continued, still looking at their clasped hands. "I started feeling some pain, some dizziness. I put off going to the doctor, but when I finally went, they ran tests." "Margot, the tests came back positive. There's a tumor here." She touched her own abdomen. "The doctors said it needs urgent treatment. Chemotherapy, maybe surgery." Damien was frozen, processing. And did you get treatment? Are you getting treatment?" Margot shook her head slowly. "No." "What do you mean, no?" His voice was louder than he intended. "I didn't get treatment because I couldn't, Damien." She finally looked at him, her eyes full of tears. "I didn't have the money. I could barely pay for electricity and food. How was I going to pay for treatment? And the public health system has a waiting list of months, sometimes years." "Margot," he could barely speak. "Why didn't you look for me? Why didn't you ask for help?" "Because I didn't even know where you were. We only just found each other again, 2 days ago." It was true. The logic was cruel, but it was true. "I put the test results in a drawer," Margot confessed, her voice breaking. "I pretended they didn't exist. I kept working, taking care of Maya, living one day at a time." But you can't just ignore this." "I know," she sobbed. "I know, Damien. But I was so scared. Not of dying. I had already accepted that. What terrified me was something else." "What?" Margot looked inside the house, where Maya was humming a song while drying the dishes. "My fear was leaving Maya alone in the world." Her voice came out in a desperate whisper. "She has no one else. She only has me. If I die, she'll go to an orphanage. She'll be adopted by strangers. She'll forget about me. She'll grow up not knowing who she is." She couldn't go on. She covered her face with her hands and cried. Damien pulled her into a hug, holding her tight. He felt her body trembling with sobs, so small, so fragile. "I didn't know what to do," Margot cried on his shoulder. "So I just prayed every night for more time, a little more time to take care of her, to let her get a little older, a little more prepared." "Margot, listen." Damien pulled away just enough to hold her face in both his hands, looking deep into her eyes. "Listen to what I'm about to tell you." She looked at him, her eyes red and swollen. Damien took a deep breath. When he spoke, his voice was firm, decisive, with no room for doubt. "You are not alone anymore, neither is she." Margot blinked, confused. "What?" "You're not in this alone anymore, Margot," he repeated with even more firmness. "And neither is Maya. I'm here now, we're here. And I'm not going to let you die without a fight." "I won't." "But Damien, the treatment is expensive." "I don't care." He cut her off. "We'll start the treatment tomorrow if we have to. I'll take you to the best doctors. I'll pay for whatever is necessary. Surgery, chemo, medication, everything. Whatever you need." "I can't accept that." "Yes, you can. And you will." He held her face gently. "You saved my life when I was a child, Margot. You gave me love when no one else did. Now let me return the favor. Let me save your life too. And what if it doesn't work?" Her voice was a thread. "What if it's too late?" "Then we will have tried," Damien said with conviction. "And at least you won't be alone. And neither will Maya. Because no matter what happens, I will take care of her. I promise you. You promise, Margot whispered, grabbing his hands as if they were a lifeline. I promise. He spoke slowly, each word carrying weight. I promise I will take care of Maya as if she were my own daughter. She will never be alone. She will never be in need. She will never forget you. I guarantee it. Margot broke down in tears again, but this time it was different. It was relief. It was hope. Thank you, she sobbed. Thank you, my boy. Thank you. They held each other there on the small porch, crying together, while inside, the girls continued to play so, oblivious to the weight of that conversation. When they finally separated, Margot wiped her face with the corner of her apron. Tomorrow morning, Damien decided. We're going to the hospital, you'll bring the test results, and we'll talk to the doctors. We're going to start the treatment as soon as possible. Tomorrow, she widened her eyes. Tomorrow, he confirmed. There's no time to lose, Margot. Every day counts. She nodded, still processing everything. And Maya, what do we tell her? The truth, Damien said after a thought. Not right now, but soon. She deserves to know. And she also deserves to know that everything is going to be okay, that there are people taking care of you both now. Okay, Margot agreed, exhausted but relieved. They went back inside. The girls had finished the dishes and were in the living room, playing with the modeling clay again. Grandma! Mr. Damien! Maya called. Come play more. We'll be right there, Margot replied, and her voice was already lighter. Damien looked at her. Despite the red eyes, despite the fatigue, there was something different now. There was hope. And hope, he was learning, was the most powerful thing in the world. The next morning, very early, Damien parked his car in front of the little blue house. Margot was already waiting at the door, wearing an old but clean coat and holding a small handbag. Inside the bag were the test results she had kept for months, hidden at the bottom of a drawer as if they were a shameful secret. Ready? Damien asked, getting out of the car. I think so. Her voice trembled a little. Maya appeared behind her grandmother, still in her pajamas, her blonde hair messy from sleep. Grandma, will you be back soon? Margot bent down with difficulty and held her granddaughter's face. Yes, I will, my dear. It's just an appointment. Mr. Damien is taking me to a good doctor. Can I come too? Maya's blue eyes shone hopefully. Margot hesitated, looking at Damien. He nodded. You can come. It'll be good to have you along. Maya's face lit up. She ran inside and came back in 5 minutes, already dressed in jeans and a pink shirt, her hair hastily tied in a ponytail. Ready? The three of them got into the car. The drive was silent. Margot looked out the window, her hands clasped in her lap, nervous. Maya sat in the back, quiet, sensing that this was serious even if she didn't fully understand why. Damien had made an appointment with the best oncologist in the city. He had called the day before, explained the situation, and insisted until he got an urgent slot. They arrived at a large, modern, private hospital with white walls and gleaming floors. Margot looked around, intimidated. She had never been in a place like this. Come on. Damien gently held her arm. It's all right. They went up to the 3rd floor. The reception area was spacious, with comfortable sofas and organized magazines. A few people were waiting, but the atmosphere was calm, without that strong public hospital smell, without that desperate rush. Good morning, the receptionist smiled. Name? Margot Castellani, Damien answered for her. Can we have an appointment with Dr. Henderson? Oh, yes, please have a seat. He'll call you shortly. They sat on the sofas. Maya stayed very close to her grandmother, holding her hand. Margot was tense, her whole body rigid. It's okay, Grandma, Maya whispered. I'm here. Margot squeezed her granddaughter's little hand but couldn't reply. 10 minutes later, a nurse appeared. Margot Castellani. Margot stood up unsteadily. Damien stood up with her, holding her arm. Can I go in with her? He asked. Of course. And the little girl too, if she wants. I want to, Maya said quickly, gripping her grandmother's hand tighter. They entered a spacious office. Doctor. Henderson was a man in his 50s, with grey hair, thin-rimmed glasses, and a serious but kind expression. "Good morning. Please, sit down." They sat in the chairs in front of his desk. Maya didn't let go of Margot's hand for a second. "So, Mrs. Margot," the doctor opened a file. Mr. Damien explained a bit of the situation over the phone. "Did you bring the test results?" Margot took a crumpled envelope from her bag. She handed it over with trembling hands. The doctor opened it, spread the papers on his desk, and began to read attentively. His face remained neutral, professional, but Damien noticed the slight tension around his eyes. The silence dragged on. Maya looked from the doctor to her grandmother, from her grandmother to the doctor, feeling the tension but not understanding. Finally, Dr. Henderson took off his glasses and looked at Margot. "Mrs. Margot, I'm going to be direct with you. The situation is serious." Margot swallowed hard. "But it's not hopeless," he continued, and there was firmness in his voice. "It's not without treatment. You should have started sooner, that's true, but there's still time." "There is." Her voice was a thread. "There is," he confirmed. "It will require aggressive chemotherapy, maybe surgery later, depending on how the tumor responds. It will be difficult, it will be tiring, but it's possible." Tears began to stream down Margot's face. "When can we start?" Damien asked. "This week. I'll order some more updated complementary tests first, then we'll schedule the first chemo session." The doctor looked at Margot kindly. "You're not alone in this, are you? Do you have support?" "She does," Damien answered firmly. "She has all the support she needs." Dr. Henderson nodded, satisfied. "Good. Because she will need it. The treatment is tough. She'll need help getting to and from sessions, managing side effects, eating properly." "I'll be there," Damien assured him. "Me too," Maya added in a firm voice, despite being so small. The doctor smiled at the girl. "It's good that she has you." They left the office with a list of tests to do, and the first chemo session scheduled for 5 days later. Margot was dazed, processing everything. They did the tests at the same hospital. It was hours of waiting, blood draws, imaging scans. Maya stayed by her grandmother's side the entire time, holding her hand, offering water, asking if she was okay. When they finally finished, it was mid-afternoon. They returned to the waiting room while they waited for some of the test results. Margot was exhausted. She leaned her head against the back of the sofa and closed her eyes. Maya climbed onto the sofa beside her and held her grandmother's hand with both of her little hands. "Grandma?" "Yes, my love. Everything's going to be okay," Maya said, and there was so much conviction in her childish voice. "I know it will. You have us now too. You have me. You have Haley. You have Mr. Damien. You're not alone anymore." Margot opened her eyes slowly. She looked at her granddaughter, those blue eyes so full of faith, of love, of pure hope. Something broke inside her. She pulled Maya into a hug and cried. But it wasn't a cry of despair. It was one of relief, of gratitude, of feeling for the first time in so long that she wasn't carrying it all alone. "I know, my dear," she whispered into her granddaughter's blonde hair. "I know, and you have no idea how much that means to me." Damien watched the two of them embraced there on the waiting room sofa. He felt his throat tighten. He remembered when he was a child and it was Margot who hugged him like that, who dried his tears, who made him feel less alone. Now it was his turn to do the same for her. The following days were intense. Damien returned to the little blue house every day. He brought more groceries. He talked with Margot about the treatment, about what to expect, about how to prepare. He researched online, talked with the doctor, took notes on everything. Haley and Maya spent even more time together. Damien would take Haley there every afternoon, and the girls would play while he talked with Margot, or helped with small repairs around the house. On the 5th day, the first chemotherapy session arrived. Damien picked Margot up early. She was pale, nervous, but dressed and ready. Maya insisted on coming along again. "I want to stay with Grandma." "It's going to be boring, Maya." Margot tried to dissuade her. "You'll have to sit still for a long time." "I don't care. I want to stay." Margot looked at Damien, who nodded. "Let her come. It will do you both good." The session was long. Margot sat in a comfortable chair, the needle in her arm, the clear liquid slowly entering her vein. Maya sat beside her, holding her grandmother's other hand, talking quietly, telling stories, making her grandmother smile even in that difficult moment. Damien stayed there the whole time. He brought water, a blanket when Margot felt cold, and a magazine for Maya to flip through. When it was over, Margot was tired but steady. "How do you feel?" Damien asked on the way back to the car. "Strange," she admitted, "but hopeful. For the first time in months, I feel like maybe I can beat this." "You will," Maya declared from the back seat. "I believe in you." "I do too," Damien added. Margot looked at him, her eyes misty. "Thank you, Damien, for everything. For giving me this chance, for not letting me give up." "You never gave up on me when I was a child," he replied simply. "I wasn't going to let you give up now." They returned to the little blue house. Margot went straight to bed, exhausted. Maya tucked her grandmother in lovingly and kissed her forehead. "Rest, Grandma. You'll be better tomorrow." "I know, my love, I know." When Maya came out of the room, Damien was waiting in the living room. "Is she going to be okay?" the little girl asked, her voice small. "She is." Damien knelt to her level. "It will take time, but she'll be okay. We're going to take care of her together." Maya nodded, wiping away a tear that escaped. "Promise, I promise." And there, in that little blue house that just weeks ago was only silence and loneliness, something new was blooming. Real hope was being born. Hope for healing, hope for better days. Hope that, for the first time in her life, Margot didn't have to carry everything alone. Because now, finally, she had a real family taking care of her. 2 weeks had passed since the first chemotherapy session. Life in the little blue house had found a new rhythm. It was no longer that heavy, lonely silence. Now there was movement, there were voices, there was real life. Damien stopped by almost every day. Sometimes he brought Haley, sometimes he came alone just to see how Margot was doing. He brought ready-made food when she was too nauseous to cook. He sat and talked. He helped with small things around the house. Margot had bad days, when the chemo hit hard and she spent the day in bed, sick, with no strength. But she also had good days, when she could get up, have coffee at the table, even walk a little in the small yard, and on the good days, the house filled with joy. That Saturday afternoon was one of the good days. Margot was sitting on the sofa, a blanket over her legs, her hair covered with a colorful scarf. She had started to lose some hair from the treatment, but that didn't take away the sparkle in her eyes or the smile on her face. Haley and Maya were sitting on the living room rug, surrounded by a pile of scattered things. There was a jar full of colorful beads, red, blue, yellow, green, purple, pink, green. There were round beads, heart-shaped beads, and most importantly, beads with letters of the alphabet. There were also several small rolls of clear elastic string. "What are you two doing there?" Damien asked, coming from the kitchen with a glass of water for Margot. "Bracelets," Maya answered excitedly, without taking her eyes off her work. "Tie friendship bracelets," Haley added, carefully choosing beads. "The lady who lives next door to Grandma Margot gave us this kit. She said it's to make friendship stronger." "Stronger how?" "When you give a bracelet to someone, the friendship is protected," Maya explained with all seriousness. "It's like a promise you wear on your wrist." Damien smiled, finding that adorable. He handed the glass to Margot and sat next to her on the sofa. "And who are you making them for?" "For each other," the two answered together, exchanging knowing glances. "But it's a surprise," Maya warned. "We're each making one for the other, but we can't look." "They've been like this for half an hour," Margot commented softly, smiling. Focused, serious, as if it were the most important thing in the world. "To them, maybe it is," Damien replied, watching. The girls worked in focused silence. They chose each bead with care, threaded them onto the string, forming colorful patterns. Every now and then, one would glance to the side to make sure the other wasn't peeking. "Done," Haley announced after another 15 minutes. She held up the bracelet she had made, admiring it. "It's beautiful." "Mine too." Maya held hers up. "Look at Grandma." Margot leaned forward to see better. She smiled broadly. "They're both beautiful. You have the hands of artists." "Now we trade," Haley said excitedly. But first, show what you wrote, Maya requested. Okay, I'll show mine if you show yours. Deal. The two of them held up their bracelets at the same time. The bracelet Haley had made had pink beads alternating with white beads, and in the middle, spelled out with the letter beads, was Maya. The bracelet Maya had made had blue and gold beads, and in the middle was written Forever. Mine has your name, Haley explained, showing it proudly. So you never forget that I'm your friend. And mine says forever in English, Maya explained. Because our friendship is forever, it never ends. The two looked at each other, smiled, and without planning it, threw themselves into each other's arms for a tight hug. Now trade, Maya said, letting go. Wait, let me tie it properly. Haley took the bracelet she had made and carefully tied it onto Maya's wrist. She made a tight double knot. There. Now it won't come off. My turn. Maya took her bracelet and tied it onto Haley's wrist with the same care. Done, too. The two held up their wrists, admiring their new bracelets. The name Maya shone on one wrist. The word forever shone on the other. It's perfect, Haley whispered. Now we're real sisters, Maya declared solemnly. Haley's eyes widened. Sisters? Yeah, sisters of the heart. Maya held her friend's hand. It doesn't matter that we weren't born in the same family. We chose to be sisters. And that's even more special. Even if we live far away from each other one day? Haley asked, her voice growing small. Even if we live far away. Even if years go by without seeing each other. Even if everything changes, Maya assured her, the bracelet will remember, and we will always be sisters, forever and ever. Forever. Forever, Haley repeated, and the two hugged again, this time longer, tighter. Damien felt his throat close up. He glanced to the side and saw Margot discreetly wiping her eyes with the corner of her blanket. Are you crying, Grandma? Maya noticed, pulling away from Haley. No, no. Margot tried to cover it up, laughing. It's just dust. Or allergies, I don't know. It's emotion, Damien corrected gently. It is, Margot admitted, giving up the pretense. It really is emotion. Seeing you two like this, such good friends, so close, so full of pure love. The girls approached the sofa. Maya climbed up beside her grandmother, and Haley stood in front. Are you okay, Grandma? Maya asked, concerned. I'm wonderful, my dear. Margot put her arm around her granddaughter's shoulders, pulling her close. Better than wonderful, actually. How so? Margot took a deep breath, looking around. At the small but lively room, at the girls with their friendship bracelets, at Damien beside her on the sofa, at the sunlight streaming through the window and illuminating everything. It's been a long time since I've felt so alive, she confessed, her voice emotional. Years, maybe. I was so tired, so lonely, so scared of the future. But now... She paused, wiping away another tear that escaped. Now I wake up in the morning, and there's a reason to get up. It's not just obligation, not just work, not just surviving another day. It's real life. It's joy, it's family. Maya hugged her grandmother tightly. You're going to be okay, Grandma. I know you will. And we're going to have a lot more time together. I believe that too. Margot kissed the top of her granddaughter's blonde head. The following weeks confirmed it. Margot continued her chemo sessions religiously. Damien took her to every single one. Sometimes Maya went with them. Sometimes she stayed with Haley at Damien's house. The doctors were optimistic. The tumor was responding to the treatment. It was shrinking. There was still a long road ahead, but there was real hope now. And with hope came healing, not just for the body, but for the soul as well. Maya started calling Damien Uncle. It happened naturally on a random day. Uncle Damien, can you help me with my math homework? He had stopped in the middle of the living room, surprised, moved, but he answered as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Of course, Maya. Come here, I'll help you. Haley, in turn, started calling Margot Grandma. Grandma Margot, can I draw a picture for you? Margot had clutched her chest, her eyes filling with happy tears. Yes, you can, my dear, I would love that. A new family was forming there in that little blue house. It wasn't formed by blood or documents. It was formed by love, by presence, by choice. by people who found each other when they needed it most and decided to stay together. On a sunny Saturday, they were all in the small backyard. It was a simple space, with overgrown grass and a few wildflowers sprouting in the corners. Margot was sitting in a chair that Damien had brought, watching. She had a blue scarf on her head and a shawl over her shoulders, but she was smiling. "Look, Grandma," Maya pointed. "There are daisies here. And there are some yellow flowers over here," Haley discovered on the other side. "You can pick them," Margot authorized. "Let's make a bouquet." The girls started picking the flowers carefully, choosing the prettiest ones, making excited comments about each one. Damien stood next to Margot, just watching. There was a peace in that moment, a completeness. "Thank you," he said suddenly. "For what?" Margot looked at him. "For everything. For taking care of me when I was a child. For teaching me what really matters in life." "I didn't teach you anything special," Margot said modestly. "Yes, you did," Damien insisted. "You taught me how to care. You taught me that being present is worth more than any present. That a hug heals more than medicine. That family isn't who you're born with, but who chooses to stay." He paused, swallowing his emotion. "I spent years not quite understanding that. I worked too much, chased after money, success, things. And when my wife died, I kind of forgot how to live, how to be truly present for Haley." "But you were always a good father," Margot said. "Maybe, but I wasn't the best I could be," he admitted. "Not until Haley made that request, to invite Maya to Christmas dinner. She was the one who opened my eyes, who brought me back here to you." He looked at the girls picking flowers, laughing together. "And now I understand. I finally understand the value of caring, of being present, of building a real family." Margot took his hand. "You were always capable of this, Damien. I just planted a little seed when you were young. A seed of love, hat of care, and I kept it in your heart." She smiled, squeezing his hand. "I just planted it. And now, after so many years, you are harvesting. You are harvesting everything I planted, and you're planting it again, in your girls. The cycle continues." Damien felt tears well up. He didn't try to hold them back, and the cycle will continue, he promised. "I will take care of you. I will take care of Maya. I will teach Haley everything you taught me. I will pass it on." "I know you will," Margot said with total conviction. "I always knew." "Uncle Damien, Grandma Margot," Maya called, running with a makeshift bouquet of flowers in her hands. "Look what we made." Haley followed with another smaller bouquet. "It's for both of you," she announced. The girls handed them the flowers, one bouquet for Margot, another for Damien. They were simple, wild flowers, some already a bit wilted, but they were the most beautiful flowers in the world. "Thank you, girls." Margot held the bouquet as if it were made of expensive roses. "It's beautiful." "Perfect," Damien agreed, smelling the flowers. Maya and Haley looked at each other and smiled, shaking their wrists where the friendship bracelets shone in the sun. Maya on one wrist, forever on the other. Sisters of the heart, family by choice. And there, in that small backyard of a little blue house, with wildflowers in their hands and love overflowing, they all understood something important. Home isn't a place, home is people. And they had finally found theirs. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.